net, one of my all-time favorite lines to say. I used to say it quite often while fishing in Garrison, Minnesota, home of the world's largest walleye and also home of Mille Lacs Lake. But recently, there hasn't been many anglers saying get the net. I love the outdoors, and I had many fond memories of my dad and I fishing and catching walleyes on Mille Lacs. That's why I care so much about this topic. There's been many theories to why the Mille Lacs Lake walleye population has been decreasing in recent years. One of those theories that I'm going to share with you is the Mille Lacs Lake Ojibwe gill netting each spring. I'm going to talk about how gill netting is harmful for lakes during the spring, how it affects local businesses, and also from an Ojibwe's point of view, how they think and how they feel about it. First, I'm going to talk to you about the Mille Lacs Lake annual gill netting. Now, every spring, 2 tribes from Minnesota and 6 tribes from Wisconsin come and harvest hundreds of thousands of pounds out of Mille Lacs Lake. And this is according to Amber Esposa article that was in the NPR titled, "A Decade Later, Mille Lacs Lake Netting Decision Still Angers Anglers." Like I said in my opening statement, every spring these gill netters harvest tons and tons and tons of walleyes. But what effect is it really having? During the spring, walleyes like to run up or swim up into creeks and shallow rivers to spawn and reproduce naturally. Now, this allows walleye population to be strong and for it to sustain itself for future years to come. But during this time of year, during the spring, recreational fishermen such like myself are not allowed to target or even fish walleyes. This is because they're trying to spawn and, like I said, reproduce naturally. But each spring, there's still those 8 tribes harvesting these same walleyes legally permitted by the state. Now, anglers aren't upset with the Ojibwe, they're upset with the state for allowing this to happen. And if it continues to happen, and the walleyes the population continues to decrease, we're worried about what the consequences that we could face. And one of those consequences has already been seen and has already played a factor for over 100 local businesses in the Garrison area. Now, these businesses depend on the local fishing tourism that comes every summer and really all year long that comes to them. And with the lack of fish, there's a lack of fish tourism. And because of this, many businesses have failed and gone under. But this is just one of the few theories behind the decreasing walleye population. Now, the Ojibwe were given the right in a treaty, in the Treaty of 1837 that was passed in March of 1999, according to Sam Michaels of the Great Lakes Indian Fishing and Wildlife Commission. Now, this treaty gives the right to hunt, fish, and gather from the Mille Lacs Lake Ojibwe Reservation. There are limits and regulations to how many walleyes they can take, how they can take them, but gill nets are permitted. Now, the gill nets are long spans of line, not even line, but a net that any fish that swims into them gets caught and they will harvest and eat. These are permitted. They say that these long lines of net are permitted because of it was adapted and passed down from their elders. Now, the Ojibwe say that their heritage is very important and they're worried that it could die if the gill netting goes away. And which I agree with this statement because tradition is very important to all Native American cultures. And they feel that by them teaching their grandkids and kids how to use the gill nets, that they can continue the tradition. There are many theories to why the Mille Lacs Lake walleye population has been decreasing in the past several years. One of the theories is that gill netting conducted by the Mille Lacs Lake Ojibwe. I explained how this is harmful for lakes in the spring. I also explained how this is affecting local businesses, but also how the Ojibwe feel and why they feel it is important to them to keep gill netting for future generations. Thank you, and don't let memories get caught in the nets.